A SOUQ morning, this lovely morning, Monday, and it's fresh as Ononogu. Welcome to SOUQ Business Landscape, the show where we go take you across board to look at headlines concerning us, business, and the world at large. My name is Ikenna Mba, so we'll be shedding light on those business headlines from across the world with two special guests with me, Dr. Idahosa Osamhanze. Welcome to the show, as usual.
Good SOUQ morning, good Nigeria.
And
Pleasure to be here.
Yes, as usual. As usual. We're fired up. You're fired up, right?
Thank you.
My next guest needs no introduction. The man with the James Bond name. He is Chuks John Rogers. Hello, Chuks.
Hello, Ikenna. Good morning. The weekend looks good on you.
Good
morning, Doc.
I was expecting you to say, hello, Ikenna, good morning. Hello, Ikenna, good morning. Twice how you do it.
Can I repeat now?
Yes.
Okay. It's a beautiful rainy day in Lagos. Welcome to #SBL.
Welcome. I was going to make a quirky remark about the weekend on Doc, but I'll let it slide. First business day. Why Nigeria's public debt is ballooning. So economists said the recent astronomical rise is attributable to new borrowing and the effect of currency devaluation. Guys, please, will this ever end?
But I think it's understandable.
How?
Which
Doc?
part is understandable?
Doc, how? How?
I think what people need to understand is I like scary headlines, but I think they don't do good most of the time when we have to look at issues as they were. What we need to do is to be able to classify these debts. What's happening in the domestic debt? What's happening at the international debt? See, my last count, that was just last week, when this headline first popped up, was the fact that the debt has increased from between 97 trillion to 121 trillion. But that was on the face value. Because actually, what was in the news, the body of the news, was the fact that the debt has actually gone reduced by 16 billion US dollars. Mm-hmm. But because you are valuing it in Naira terms, so the Naira prices is going down, the debt is increasing. It's as if that there are more borrowing. So that's one way to look at it. But I also think that it is important to also see what are the things that are being done as the Naira is strengthened, which is, of course, what we all collectively have to do in terms of reducing our over-dependence on things that can be produced locally. And then, of course, as all of us start to consume locally and the Naira strengthens, then, of course, it will also reflect in the Naira value of the debt. But significantly speaking, I am not too sure whether we have been borrowing so much in the last 1 year, because everybody seems regulated, but the federal government takes some few loans. That was custom and FRS, which, of course, for me is not really quite significant. Also seeing what those agencies are doing in terms of revenue generation. So for me, like people have always said, debt is not to be feared. It's what you're doing with the debt that, for me, that is real, very fundamental. But all in all is that we can only be talking about this debt as long as we continue to depend on goods and services that are procured from outside. Now, once we start to invest locally and do things within our space, a whole of all this trouble will be gone. Because debt to GDP ratio in Nigeria is still not above 23%.
If we look at the debt we have incurred for now, in my opinion, I would say it's too much. I'll beg the state governors, agencies, and the federal government, please stop borrowing. It's enough. If we can't produce what we consume, then that's too bad. We now ask the ones that were borrowed in the last 1 year alone, what have they been used for?
No, but I think we can't stop borrowing.
We
But
can't
like
stop borrowing.
like Doc said,
We can't stop borrowing.
can.
What are we borrowing for?
That's what I'm saying.
To pay manpower?
We have to borrow to utilize, to increase production, to help. That way, borrowing is.
If we see the
good.
production that is being increased, good and fine. Show us that.
Yeah, but
Show us those
I don't think it's as simple as Chuks like to say.
Can't just stop.
But it's as simple as borrowing to spend.
Yeah, of course. You see, the issue is this: you have a situation here where things are not as they should be, and like they say, you don't build Rome in a day. This productivity we're talking about.
We keep saying building Rome in a day. We need to cut down on our spending. We need to cut down on the kind of lifestyle.
And to actually begin to put those monies to
we need to cut down.
See, it's not the.
It takes a day to cut down.
It's not the function of government. Most of the time, as we want to always point that government is going to do the production. So all that government does is to say, how do we stimulate and keep the wheel of the economy oiled?
Okay, but is it the function of the government to tell state governors not to borrow from IMF or not to borrow from international organizations?
Yeah, but you see, many of them are also not borrowing worthy because the issue is that for over a period of time, they've not actually been able to do repayment of some of this loan. And there's also a check on how this money is being borrowed and what
the problem is
for.
Not being able to pay.
The issue here for me, which is fundamental, if we were to look at it on the face value, the naira has fallen, which of course is the primary cause why we are seeing the figure of 121 trillion.
But we knew that before it was devalued.
So the value of the naira is also playing very critical role in the figure we are seeing. So that also means is that if naira is strengthened, a lot will get better. See, what we are looking at here is the fact that many of us and the way we have taken economic management is a real problem.
Okay, can we look at it from this other angle? Each time we keep talking about this economic management, it is not difficult. It is only these so-called technocrats that come here and make it difficult. It is not difficult. What are you bringing to the market? It's as simple as that. Let's not go beyond arithmetic economics. It's not difficult.
Take it from the micro level at individual level. You see, it's easy for you to sit down here and say, well, we can cut size. You can cut size, for example, and say, okay, children, there's no more food because we are not able to produce money now. So wait till things get better, maybe in another 3 months. So by that time, we can start to feed. Can you do that at micro level? At family level?
At family level?
Yes.
Nigerians have cut down
that example. Dog, that example is scary.
No. Nigerians have cut down on a lot of luxuries. Let's face
it. Wait, there are a lot of things that you call luxury.
Yes. Nigerians don't need it as simple as bread. Luxury. As simple as bread, Nigerians have cut down on the amount of bread they consume.
Yeah, but you see, what we're talking here is the fact that, see, the engine of the state will continue to run.
The engine of the state can be shortened. The engine of the state can be reduced.
Yeah, this is what
the expenditure of the government can be reduced.
Your children that, okay,
I'm not asking the children. Let's look at the government first.
No.
The government is still trying to
give an example.
You are looking at government.
It's like saying you should stop.
Yeah, you're not putting government in perspective. See, the way individuals spend in the home is the way government business is run.
Okay. Now, can we talk about the political class in the first place?
Wait first.
Are they still spending the way they spend?
Just hold on. You just hold on.
Pump your brakes.
You see, these are the issues.
I'll try.
See, there are a lot of issues that come in here when you're looking at government. You see, as income flows into the hand of the individual person, then you manage that income against what expectations are for you from your family members. Now, there are basic things that you need necessarily to happen. And these are the issues that, for example, you have to keep your bureaucracy running, for example, which is critical and important. So it's like you are hoping that there's going to be food in 1 month, and all you are doing is you are shutting down the house because until the food comes, we cannot do anything. Now, but if this bureaucracy is running, what that means is that you reduce the social pressure on the state. And once the social pressure on the state is reduced, what do you get? You find that the chances of even the nation breaking down become reduced. So all this, we can stop this, we can stop that. What we will look to more or less, which will further complicate the issue.
Well, I understand Chuks' where he's going to with cut down, because we can't really stop anything. It grinds everything to a halt.
So when you are saying cut down,
Can I
For instance, if you're eating 3 times a day, this is once. Government. No, I'm talking about government. Yes.
They shouldn't eat at all.
No,
They
that's
eat it
that's
for
that's
years,
shut down.
yeah.
That's what you're not.
So it's not as simple and simplistic as we look at it.
If we want it to work, it will work.
Yeah, but you see, there are basic things that, of course, people need to do. And that's what I'm saying. That look, when we talk government, sometimes we look at it in abstraction as if government is a person. Government is not a person.
Those in government are people.
No.
Those running government are people.
Government is not
They
a
should
person.
take responsibility.
See,
That's what we're saying.
The activities that government has obligations to people, and these obligations are to be met, whether they are private sector people who have done business with government, they need to meet their obligations. You have obligation to people on the outside, which needs to be met. And then, of course, you have also made some promises, which Constitution guarantee that you have to do and fulfill to the people. All these things have to be met. So what that means is that we will continue to spend money. That is the only way.
Can we look at it this way?
That you can create wealth.
Doc,
because
if government cannot create wealth.
See, government
Let's look at it this way.
Government is the biggest spender.
Government is the biggest spender, but they are not the biggest employers of labor.
So, see, for this...
that money that's being borrowed, why are we not
seeing
seeing it trickling down to the biggest employers of labor?
Is the fact that if government stops spending, these people you call the biggest employer of labor, they will be granted.
Let's see that spending on their side.
No. Once those government spending stop, those you call the employer of labor in quotes, will be granted. Then you will have more unemployment, you will have more trouble. So what government
spending on that side? That's what I'm going to.
What government spending does is that it gives money into the environment. So those who are dealing with government, they have some money to spend. Those things will continue to happen. And that's why even in the biggest of the economy in the world, like the US, they continue to print dollars because they know that if you don't do this, you will create a social crisis. And that social crisis will consume everybody.
When they spend, they make sure the spending gets down to the major employers of labor, which happens to be the SMEs. But that's what we're talking about. Let the money get to the SMEs. Not direct government contract or direct government spending or going to buy things that government doesn't need.
SMEs hand. How does money get to the SMEs? Money gets to the SMEs because they are included in contractual obligations. So government gets loan to get these people to have money in their hand to sustain the economy running. If government shut down, like people, I think, and say, okay, close everything, we will understand the reality. It's just like
we are the reality already.
No.
We
have not seen reality.
If we not see reality, beyond this.
If you want to see reality, you go to Venezuela.
Listen, okay. Doc, I would ask if you have some fantastic and wonderful ideas. So if you are approached to two ways, if you are approached to consult for the government, would you take it?
I will gladly take.
Okay. Now, on the other hand, if you are approached,
I will go with him.
No, you definitely will not.
I will go with him.
So on the other hand, if you are approached to and offered an appointment on the federal level because of the radical ideas they have, would you take it? Two different things now.
Well, you see, the radical idea, you see, for me, is how the state is organized that is fundamental.
Will you take it, though?
I will.
Okay.
I will.
Okay, I rest my case.
You should see the way I'm cutting him eyes.
Next headline.
I'll argue somewhere. If you give me six months,
yes,
I'll be able to reverse the trend.
It depends on the capacity offered. No, hold on. You will ask a question. No, you see, that's why he's laughing. That's a hard sell. But I'm talking about in the position of, say, a new portfolio of, let's say, a minister that controls or oversees the economy.
if you give me a portfolio, whether it's in a ministry, I'll be able to demonstrate in 6 months. In 6 months. If it's
We're talking
ministry,
economy now. I'm not even talking about sectors now.
No, what I mean is that depending on what you are giving me to do, say, coordinating minister of the economy, you have only one ministry where you actually have power oversight, and that is the Ministry of Finance, for example, in this current dispensation. So, what happened in the other ministries is just collaborative effort to say, okay, what are you doing? What are you doing? But you also understand.
And if they refuse to work with you, you are stifled.
No, you can't do really anything, because these are some of the issues that you see. Interagency cooperation is the biggest challenge that the industry faces.
Even among individuals.
Yeah, the nations, yeah. So when you look at the nation of Nigeria, this ego war, I think is a really big issue.
Yep.
Yeah. What for me is people should be thinking about is a realistic roadmap that had to be drawn and put on the ground. I'm not a fan of saying stop everything, but what I'm saying is that is there a direction?
You said?
Take note.
I'm trying.
Is there a direction that we are heading for?
That works.
This is the destination we want to reach. So while all of these things are going on, but we know that we are moving critically to a specific direction. So that works for me. And once you look at it from resource management point of view and say which strategic area you are going to be, is to see we are strategic in terms of thinking that this is where we are going. But while we are going here, ensuring that the allocation of resources is toward where we are going. You say 80-20 principle, like they say. So 80% of the resources get to where we are going. So we understand that this 20% is going to give us value in the longer run, and then we pursue and push that agenda. So that for me is what work. If I'm the president of Nigeria, the first thing I would have done is to unbundle the federation. How do I do that? And I said, through fiscal federalism. Say, take care of your resources, give us royalty, and then face your business. Then we can see how we can manage the global image.
You know, there's always a way that they find to make these things not work. But
when you unbundle the state, it's simple. Everybody is on their own, so you don't need to come to the center to say.
So you're talking sections, regions.
No regions, states. Federation. We are federation unit. So generate resources. Every state has resources under their land. So the first thing I would do.
Permission to.
Yes, of course. I give.
Even without what is under your land.
I put.
There are countries that have nothing under their land.
A bill to the National Assembly and said, please, I made this law that whatever is under the land belongs to the federal. No, it belongs to the states where it's domicile. So the state manage it, but they pay royalty to the federation.
So Doc, now that, well, not now, it's been running for a while.
Yeah.
Federal owns what's on the ground.
Yes.
Why is it taking so long to mine those things? For instance, coal hasn't been touched in eons. So if federal is claiming it, why haven't they gotten there to the point where it's being harnessed and used? Because coal alone will give us power. Unlimited, unblinking power.
There's a lot of politics around it.
That's the problem.
Do you really want to go there?
No.
Okay.
Okay, next headline, we move on. Still on business day. Banks scramble for investor funds as recapitalization hits up. So the ongoing banking sector recapitalization will birth bigger banks. I guess referring to what's happening with Heritage Bank currently, or what Access Bank is trying to do. And they will not just birth bigger banks. This recapitalization will ensure large capital base and the capacity to underwrite large levels of credit. Now, this is scary because why people are thinking their money is not safe anymore? Because if you're talking about the outcome of bigger banks, that means some will swallow up some. That means some will go out to business. What's your take?
Yeah, you see, the CBN read this riot at when the Chartered Institute Banker had their annual investor program, where he said the president wants to build a $1 trillion economy, which is doubling the size of the economy. And the question that was asked that day was, the bank as is currently constituted, do they have the muscle to drive a $1 trillion economy? And he said the answer was no.
So why are we going there?
Yeah, so the answer was no. So they don't have the muscle to drive a $1 trillion economy. Because what that means is that if you're going to rely on foreigners, for example, foreign direct investment, influence your country, The people who are coming, they are only bringing a piece of paper. They are not coming with cash. Aeroplane full of cash. They are coming with a piece of paper.
Aeroplane full of cash.
Yes, of course. They are going to come with a piece of paper from their own bank that's guaranteed. And it's saying to you, you are the bank here. Take this paper, which is guaranteed by my home country, and provide me the money to build whatever thing I want to build. And so if we are doubling the economy, the way the bank currently is wired and structured may not have enough fund to support that enterprise. And so for him, the way out was that the bank must find a way to recapitalize and shore up their capital base so that if we start to receive this inflow of foreign direct investment who are coming to do business with us here, then the banks will be able to drive the entire process. So that's the beginning of the recapitalization debate, that of course the banks were not as liquid as we perceive. But it's not to say that the bank were not doing well or they were failing. So you are saying that, yes, this is where you are playing, but the goalpost has been shifted. Now, with this shifting of the goalpost, are you able to measure up with what is required of you? So this is what the banks are doing, trying to see how to mop up capital. You are saying what the banks are doing, right issues, seeing how to expand their base from within. And we also say recently, one of the bank looking at the facts behind the figures recently, also did both internal and external IPO. What this means is that you have to go to the public and market your stock. But I think the beauty is the fact that we also saw that the bank had done so well that in the last 2 years you have seen dividends pay out, and a lot of people seems to have confidence in the bank stock, and people are willing to put money in there. I remember that one of the bank, their chairman said, well, this dividend you are giving to me, I will not even touch it. I have to put it back because I'm expecting more money from it. So all these things are happening. And this is just to tell us that we are making some advances, that it's not as bad as people tend to.
Advances sounds fantastic. Chuks, you have been smiling.
Yes, I need
to
smile. The beautiful thing about the beautiful thing about is that, well, the banks are healthy. For those that are healthy, the banks are healthy. For those that are going to go on, that we know already, because the Indic has already put those out there. And for the banks, it's good business. Remember, there was one era the watchword was merger, and
that's what this sounds
give
like.
birth to this now. So for those, if they recapitalize, if single banks can go all the way, good and fine. If they don't, no problem. They can come together, and that marriage will happen again. It doesn't stop the owners or shareholders from any. There's no disadvantage in it. The only question I will want to ask is why we get this recapitalization and more money and measures. Are we also looking at being able to get to single digit rates when it comes to borrowing?
Yeah, that will be largely dependent on the ability to reduce risk in the environment. So, because the interest rate is tied to the risk that is in the environment, which is the ability of people to pay, to borrow, and then be able to pay back. And so that risk is still there, and it's still very huge. Beyond looking at what the facts and the figures are, is also to look at our own personality, in quote. Many of us, we need to embrace some morality to a very large extent, and that is what is going to create the sanity in the environment. I advocate that we need to strengthen corporate governances in the banking sector, because the way it looks really now is like you see very few people dominating that environment, and that dominance are the whims and their caprices. So there need to be a lot of regulations around the banking. That is not just these deposits and deductions that will make the banks to survive.
Who did the regulation?
Yes, of course, CBN is there, and that is why they are there. CBN, the bankers.
Over the years, we've had the governors of CBN as former bankers.
Yeah, but that is the issue.
So
that we are saying that
how they represent the person that is not.
Yeah, they don't need to represent any interest, but it's also to understand, even for the sake of the owners of the bank themselves to understand that governance is very, very critical. And when you look at it in terms of all the reports that we have seen, most of the loans that are actually in the bank at the moment are given to people within that entity, family and friends of the bank owners. And that's why exactly they're making it toxic. So these are the things that CBN need to strengthen. That even if, yes, you are the MD or the chairman of a bank, if they have to give loan to your wife, that loan, of course, there should be a justifiable reason why that loan should be approved, not just because you are the chairman. Whether there's the cash flow is done such a way that you are looking at ability to repay is high, we are not putting those into consideration. So those are the things that we need to deal with. Now, also in terms of remuneration, it also needs to be looked into. What the bank is spending on maintaining the chief executives and the director is also too much. That we are looking at that against investment. So banks also should be made to do practical investment and put money in the insurance, put money in productive sector of the economy. And all these things are the way commercial banks will naturally or traditionally generate revenue, not just mere deductions from people's account, like we currently do.
Wow. Not just mere deductions. We're going on to Kenya. We're going to Kenya. Business Daily. Australia, Canada, UAE, top Kenya dollar inflow growth. So these three countries are the country's fastest growing markets of remittance dollars in Kenya. Sounds weird, sounds different, because I don't see South America, I don't see, just one country in Asia, because they're usually the big players.
Yeah, but it's
I don't see US, but I see in Canada.
Is the Occupy the Church yesterday in Kenya that was really the big news?
Yeah, they are still
as it were, because of the finance bill.
No finance bill
that was issued, and
we talked about it on Friday.
So yesterday there was a whole lot of turmoil in Kenya, as it were. But you see, again, African leaders must.
But such a turmoil, how does it affect the markets? How does it affect doing business? How does it affect entrepreneurs? Is it positive? Is it in as regards that they're not doing well?
Yeah, but you see, what it is that these taxes and increase in depleting the pocket of the already very poor people in the third world is the problem. We are writing bills to take more money from people. And this is really huge and hard. Because, yes, government spendings are good. Government spends some money, and those monies come around the people. But you also see this put pressures on government. Take, for example, you come to our environment in Lagos here. If you go to do business in a hotel, you pay VAT. And you also pay hospitality tax. What tax go to state government in Lagos? Yes, the nation collect the VAT, but eventually share it, and they come to the state. So you see, this is the thing that are increasing the cost of doing business, because you have a local tax that called hospitality tax. So for every bite of meat pie you take from any of the eatery, you are paying your VAT on it, and you are paying Lagos State hospitality.
Is it only on meat pie? Let's know what you're trying to avoid.
All of them. Anywhere you go to, anytime you go to eatery to go and eat, of course you pay these taxes. And this is the kind of things that you see that African leaders are doing, multiplying and increasing taxes. And this is putting pressure on the already poor, all in the name that government want to deliver. So for me, the starting point is, let's even tell our people the truth and say, this is the position. Because the more of this money you take from the pocket of these people, the more you create poverty in the environment.
But is it akin to the caution fee that the properties people are taking? Because I don't know any one person.
Which caution?
You don't know caution fee?
Yeah, caution fee is in,
I don't know any one person, Doc, that has gotten their caution fee back. And there are other levies and other taxes that are added to your rent when you want to.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Are those such VATs or extras akin to what you're saying? And how can it be curbed or stopped? Because I don't see any reason for set some of those extras like hospitality.
Yeah, of course. So you run a restaurant, hotel in this part of the world. So to said, okay, because of maintaining that, so government is taking money from it. So, but this is the point that I'm making. The government is always taking more money.
This is why I expect Chuks to be shouting, but he's actually not.
I'm listening. I need to know which part of the meat pile is being taxed.
And the more money you take from people, the more poverty you actually create.
Of course.
Because once their disposable income gets down, the ability to buy further is reduced, so that even if you have people who are local producers, the ability to sell become also affected. So when businesses are not doing and falling down, government cannot carry the burden of the unemployed. So what government should do is to create that eco-friendly environment where there is no over taxation. I know they do that in the UAE also. For example, you have a 20 dirham fee if you get into a 5-star hotel in the UAE. For every night you stay, government takes 20 dirham from you and all that. But their economy is doing well. But if you also compare it vis-a-vis corporate tax and personal income tax, which is also zero in that environment, that is justifiable. But here, where you have corporate income tax, 25%, 20%, depending on how high your salary or your income is.
You know, Doc, I couldn't hold back. You know, you said, but government can't carry all the burden of the people.
You cannot.
Is government carrying any burden of the people? It's just a question
Can we talk about this Kenyan issue? Because you are going to steer Doc up if you ask that question right now.
Because it pinches when I hear stuff like that.
Yeah, but just doing an analogy of what is in Kenya, really. The issue is, yes, of course, you are getting people coming to your economy. But creating that ecosystem to make people to continue to bring in money into your economy, these are projections that we're looking at because that we think can happen. What if the money doesn't come?
For Kenya right now, it's happening because just the way we have this jackpot system on this side of the divide, and you see a whole lot of Nigerians heading to the US, the UK, Canada. But for Kenya, they prefer going to Australia, Canada, and the next very close neighbor.
Who's that?
Dubai. A lot of them go there to work in the hospital.
Hence, these countries that
when they make money, they send home. Then people on the outside also try to do more business with Kenya.
And it's a great tourist center. It's an amazing tourist center for the West across board.
Kenya, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, they got a whole lot of good publicity during Obama's time. So we also pray that Nigeria will get that kind of good publicity.
Even before Obama's time, Kenya in East Africa has always been a solid, resort, like getaway for the West,
Yes. They tried to manage their communication. They tried their best. So we should also do the same.
Yeah, but it's also to look at it. A lot happened from those days in the colonial day. There was a lot of investment in basic infrastructure. That the city is beautiful, and you can't take that away because people had kind of a goal and directions how they want society to look like, because that's actually the real source of attraction for tourism. When you don't build your ecosystem right.
Did you really give the accolades to colonial masters?
No. I'm talking about post-colonialism, post-independence.
How did they come into this conversation?
No. What I'm saying is that as a tourist attraction, what Ikenna is mentioning, people go to Kenya because Kenya is a beautiful city. That's the point I'm making. Post-independence, you find that a lot of investment also were done in this area. And you see, people want to see sights. That's the driver for tourism.
Eye candy.
So people can see things and they are happening. And of course, like Lagos is, such is also.
Let me bring you back to where I was heading to. Most of those beautiful houses that were built at that particular period in Kenya are still standing and are good tourist attractions. But the ones that are here, you can finish the statement.
Yeah, you see, if you look at the struggle for independence and you see all those principal actors who were driving this process, you see some countries really stood out in terms of having to champion and be able to run whatever thing that was left behind, which is, of course, if you look at it from Nigerian side, you say, oh, we didn't have real good managers who will have follow up with whatever structures that we had in place. Continuity became a problem. So, but that is
even the physical structures themselves, that I should be able to go there and look for a selfie.
Yeah, but
they are dilapidated.
Nobody is managing it. That's the point I'm making. Maintenance culture has always been a problem. So, but that's where leadership plays a very critical role. So, when you go to this other side, they have done well in terms of sustaining those structures, not just sustaining them, even building and adding more.
And you just want to go there and
see beautiful things. And that's anybody anywhere want to see wonderful things, and that's why people travel. People travel to see good sights. So if you don't have good sight, then nobody sees you.
Kenya is a beautiful place, and let them keep it like that, because we've been having some weird news from them every edition of this show. Quickly on to the next publication, so we can just run through what we have. Gulf News Business. So we're looking at Qatar. Chinese cars of comparable quality and lower costs enter global markets. The situation facing the West has been described, right, as a trilemma. It's beyond the dilemma now. So the West wants free trade, clean technology, and low inflation. And this report states that the only way they can secure all three is to tolerate China. Tolerate Chinese manufacturing.
There's this spot somewhere in Europe where you have a large number of Chinese vehicles, electric vehicles. That
has to be something that just came up. Why are you laughing?
And Europe is looking and asking themselves, okay, if we let these cars get into our market, what's going to happen to the ones we are making? This is beautiful for Africa. And let's just sit back, relax, watch this movie and laugh.
But you know, the painful thing for me is...
Really relax?
See, the painful thing for me...
compete in that market.
We can. That's what I was going to say.
What we can do is provide parts.
That's playing a role.
Elements.
But see what I'm saying? What we're doing is sit down, look. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
When we can play, yes. But what we do is we wait to franchise. Okay. We wait to bring it in and sell. When we can easily be in the game.
Now, for us to get in that particular game, then we have to be very selfish. You can't come here and take lithium. Drop a battery plant. You can't come here and take cobalt.
That's actually doing business. That's what they call it.
You see, what are we going to do?
We have to be more
battery plant.
Why
come together and say, no, don't do this to Sudan.
I'm talking about China. Investment in themselves.
China knows how to do subtle monopoly.
Spend hugely on reverse engineering. And therefore have been able to simplify technology so that it's become a lot cheaper, which the West has not been able to do.
That's it, talking politics.
So the Western countries, yes, they have the technology, but China has made it a lot cheaper.
Doc, you know what? Doc, can I come in there briefly? Sorry. When DVD came, China said no. They made it cheaper. They went VCD route.
Oh.
So everything that came out the West, China would make it more durable, more superior, cheaper.
Mass produce it.
And now, knowing this, let's say knowing that the West knows this, how can they not try to outdo China? Is it an ego thing?
Yeah, but you see, this is the problem of very big governments. I'm not a fan of big government. I like a very lean government. so that government stay within a sphere, which is regulatory. Even though China is a communist country in quotes, they are now more capitalist than the West.
With a very lean government.
With lean government. Whereas the government in the West are carrying huge burdens, and these are transferred to the corporations. So you can imagine that they are taking for 3% from whatever profit that you are making. So you cannot really invest in R&D to simplify the process.
You now move the R&D to China.
Yeah, just China is investing in R&D, and they are supporting their local companies, and the productions are getting cheaper. Whereas, because you are putting more tax in this pool, they can't even invest in new technology. And maintaining the old technology is as expensive. So this is why I keep talking about it, because why are we doing all of this? We need more money to make people feel good and feel happy. In short, I feel it's making more money to make people more lazy. Oh yeah, because you are not going to struggle to pay school fees, you are not going to struggle to pay health, you are not doing anything, government is doing anything. If you are hungry, then they put one store, you go and line up and get a ticket to go and get food.
Okay, was you that talked about Elon Musk, right? And lazy people. And remember that quote?
Oh, that's became Microsoft.
Bill Gates.
Yeah. So I like to recruit lazy people because, of course,
they think the shorter and faster way to get things
short
done.
routes to get things done. And that's shorting processes. So this is for me.
I'll have to cut you short. I'm so sorry. I wish we could have more time on the show, but we'll work around that. And from next edition, we're going to be looking at other publications that we normally don't get used to because of the excitement of the show. Thanks for staying, for listening, for joining, and for being a part of it. Remember, hashtag SBL across board, YouTube, and all our social media. My name is Ikenna. Thank you, my anti-usualist analyst, for being here, and thank you too for being there.